Such a fitting track, seriously. Joining us now is Latonia Panton, who just returned from an incredible adventure in Kenya. In her heartwarming encounter, Latonia was not only welcomed into a Kenyan tribe, but also bestowed with a tribal name. So get ready to be transported into the heart of Kenya. Welcome back, lady, or I don't know, give me the greeting in Kenyan language.
Habari.
Habari.
Yeah, so hi, habari.
Habari. Okay, how much did you catch on in terms of the language though?
Well, I have the few important ones down. Thank you, asante, asante sana. Thank you very much. And karibu sana, you're welcome. And sawa sawa, okay.
Well, let me just say welcome back and say wagwan.
Wagwan.
That is so easy for me to remember, but this is really exciting though. Latonia Panton, I introduced you as, but we have had you here in the capacity as chef before, as Chef Latonia Panton. So tell me, how does Chef Latonia Panton decide to put down her chef's robe and, you know, pick up herself and say, let me head to Kenya? What inspired this trip, really, is what I'm asking.
Well, my trip was inspired by agriculture. So there's a Kenyan apple, the Wambugu apple, which was developed by a Kenyan farmer, Peter Wambugu, and that was my main reason for heading off to Kenya, to taste this apple, to experience it, to get training, and bring it back to Jamaica.
Okay, what is it about this particular apple, and when did you first try it that made you leave Jamaica and decide, say, you know, it may feel like more I'm going to, you know, seek out this apple in another place because it was so good I had to go back for it.
So in 2019, I found out about this. This was actually from YouTube that I found out about this apple, and I've been after it, working with the government, getting my permit to bring it in, lots of sleepless nights, but I was so determined to get this apple into Jamaica. We had a shipment in February that came. They're growing nicely. So I said, I have to go and taste it, because I said, we're growing it. I have to go and taste this thing so I can tell people what it's like. So I had to go.
I want to ask you so many more things about the apple, but let me just carry it back to the cultural experience first. So when you went to the airport, tell us about that experience though, because we've heard so many stories about Jamaicans traveling to Kenya and the kind of welcome that they do get at the airport.
Well, I think I got a welcome that I will never forget. When I stepped out of the airport, they had these tribal dancers, this group there. They were there waiting just for me.
Oh, wow.
They were there waiting just for me, and they gave me a warm Kenyan welcome. They decked me out in my Masai shuka and which, as they tell me, it's an honor. It's an honor for me to be there. So that's why they have me. They dressed me like this at the airport. And it was just so, I've always wanted to go to Africa. And for me, when I reached to the airport and that was the welcome I got, I was like, it's only me. But it was so wonderful. I felt like I was going back home. I was going back to where my ancestors came from. I felt like my people were welcoming me home, and that was so wonderful.
I can imagine how emotional that must have been, though. This is the Masai Suka, you say?
Masai shuka.
Masai shuka. Okay, yes. That's a fabric.
Yes.
Okay, and it's made in Kenya as well?
Yes, it is. It's made in Kenya. It's Kenyan.
Okay, all right. So that's the welcome that you got. Then not only did you get a welcome, but you were inducted into a whole tribe.
Yes, I was. So I was told that I am a member of the Kikuyu tribe, and I am in Jerry. So I am now Latoya Jerry when I go to Kenya. And that's my tribe. And they assigned it based on my features, my look, and this is how they assigned me, because these are the people that I would have come from. Based on my physical characteristics, these would have been my people.
So hold on, so them just look at you and say, boy, you look like...
Yeah, and actually the people who I met who were actually Kikuyu, I could see, you can, just like you know your family,
yes.
You could see where you're actually, there is some association there.
Right, some similarities, some physical similarities. That's interesting. Yes. Was that emotional in any way at all when you know, being taken back to what we call home, really? And then getting that welcome, getting them to give you a name that is synonymous with that space.
Yeah, that it made me feel a sense of belonging.
Yeah.
I felt a sense of belonging because, as I said, I felt like I was home. I was going back to where my ancestors came from, and now you're going to tell me that this is where your people came. These are your people. It felt It was really wonderful. I know it has done something to me, I have to tell you.
Yeah.
I really now feel like that sense of belonging.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Looking a little bit more aware and a little bit more sure of yourself,
Yes.
which is important.
Yes.
And I think this morning you would have inspired so many other persons now to try to get to Kenya some way, somehow. So let's talk about the kind of preparation needed for a travel to Kenya. And what you had to do in terms of research outside of just knowing that, okay, the apple is from Kenya, let me research about the apple, but in terms of getting the kind of paperwork needed, etc., etc.
Well, in terms of like for the apple, that's going through the government here to get your permit. But in terms of traveling to Kenya, there is like no visa requirement for Jamaicans to get into Kenya. So for me, I traveled through New York to get there, so you need your US visa, but there are other routes you can take outside of going through the US, which are visa-free to get you to Kenya.
What you mean?
So,
really?
yeah.
All right. So you just have to go online and, check out the information and the resources there to find out what would work for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And see how you can go based on your documentation, whether you have a visa to go through another country or if you have to go through countries that don't require a visa.
All right, interesting. Latonia Panton, I'm going to carry back to Chef Latonia Panton now because
Yes.
you would have spent some time on the streets in Kenya tasting the food.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me about, what you thought, having tasted those, stuff that you've never had before.
Well, I went to Kenya saying that I'm going to try as many things as I can. There's nothing that I will make past me. And I didn't. And it was a wonderful experience. I learned about their regular everyday food, but what was really, I said I had to do the street foods. And that was amazing. So they have what they call nyama choma, which nyama choma is...
where we get that word from now, right?
Yeah, nyam, that's what
That's where we get that
I was
from.
telling them. So nyama choma is basically like Kenyan barbecue. And it's usually goat. I ate so much goat when I was there, everyday goat and beef. They eat a lot of meat, but a lot of goat. So like nyama choma, it's just meat out there on the street, like we have our jerk chicken.
I was going to ask you, how is it prepared, but you're saying it's on the fire.
It's on the grill and it's just salt. They just add salt to it and that's it. And it's done on there. And you have it with like, what did we have? I had African sausage, which that was interesting. I had it twice. The first time I had it, I took a few bites and I stopped because you have to eat it in the dark.
Hold on. That's what you mean you have to have it in the dark.
Yeah, the first one I had was in the dark and I was eating and I was tasting and I'm like, what? It was just very suspicious.
So hold on, is it that it's stipulated that you must have it in the dark alone? You can't have it in the
That's
dark?
what they told me, I have to have it in the dark. And many thoughts started going through my head once I tasted it. But I had it the following night in daylight.
Okay, and?
It was really good. I had
it made of?
So I know they say it had beef in there, it had the intestines, I know they told me it had blood. I know the one the night before did taste like it had blood in it. And lots of stuff. I guess I'm not supposed to know everything that was in it.
You must just eat it in the dark and pray for prayer.
Yeah. The second night, that was good, but I could see it, and they told me that's why it tasted so familiar. But they have it with bone soup, they call it, which is the liquid that the sausage is boiled in. I had roast corn.
Oh yeah, that's always the favorite, yeah.
Mine the choma, that is roast corn, and they serve it with lemon and salt and pepper. That was very nice.
Yeah.
And street foods, we had... Oh man, so I had a lot.
No, it sounds pretty exciting. I only have a minute left to go. So the biggest lesson though that you learned during your time at Kenya, whether it be personal or be it, something regarding to the cuisine or the culture, but the biggest lesson for you?
All right, the biggest lesson I learned is that we have brothers and sisters out there in the world. We have people who are just like us, that we actually came from a people who are still there. I think we should all go and experience Africa. And they're really warm people. Without them opening their mouths and speaking, I am in Jamaica. Yeah. Everyone, they look just like Jamaicans. And it was just, overall, it was good for my soul. Yeah. And another thing that I learned, which was shocking, is that Kenya is cold in their winter. That's one thing that's really stood out to me. It was so cold many of the nights because they're finishing winter. So that's one thing when I told people, they were like, cold. I was
That's
like,
crazy.
yeah.
Going back? Yes?
Yes, definitely.
Okay,
next
good.
year, I will be there for the wildebeest migration in August. Won't be missing me.
That sounds absolutely exciting. I'm excited for you. I mean, I'm really, really blown away by the information that you shared. Makes me now want to sign up and go to Kenya myself. So, hey, look out for me. I'll be going down there. Anyways, that's it, guys. That was Latonia Panton. More to come when we return right here on Weekend Smile. Stay with us. How you say bye-bye in Kenyan language?
Oh, I didn't get bye-bye. I'll just say bye.
Bye. We'll soon come back.